Book of Heaven, Volume 30, January 17, 1932. Dominating, speaking, and delighting modes of the divine will. How heaven remains behind. Victory of God and victory of the creature. The divine will, gatherer of its works. Example of a mother who cries over her crippled child. My little soul continues to cross the interminable sea of the divine fiat, and, oh, how I remain surprised that while I seem to have gone a long way, I go about looking and I find but a few steps compared to those that are left for me to take. The interminability is so great that even if I should walk for centuries, I would always find myself at the beginning. And there is so much to know about the divine volition that finding myself in its sea, I always feel like the little ignorant one who has only learned the vowels of the divine will, and who maybe will go to learn the consonants in the celestial fatherland, which I hope to reach soon. Oh, how I would like to have ways to move all heaven to pity so that my long exile may end. But after all, fiat, fiat, fiat. And my always lovable Jesus, having compassion for me, clasped me in his arms, telling me,
"Blessed daughter, courage, do not afflict yourself too much. For now, I want your heaven to be my divine will. It will be for you celestial fatherland on earth, and will not fail to make you happy and to give you the pure joys from up there. Wherever it reigns, it has many manifold ways to give always new surprises of joys, of contentments, so that the soul who possesses it may enjoy her paradise on earth. And therefore, now it takes on the dominating mode, and its dominion extends in the mind, in the word, in the heart, in the whole being of the creature, even in the tiniest motion, and oh, how sweet is its dominion. It is dominion and life, it is dominion and strength, it is dominion and light that makes its way, and its light dispels the darkness, removes the bars that may prevent good, and its dominion puts the enemies to flight. In sum, the creature feels carried by the dominion of the divine will, and while she is dominated, she becomes dominator of herself, of her acts, and of the very divine will, which is such that, while it dominates and rules, its gentleness, strength, and sweetness are so great that it identifies itself with the creature and wants her to dominate along, because its dominion is peaceful, and to each of the acts that the creature does, it gives its kiss of dominating peace. This kiss, gentleness and sweetness, enraptures the human will in the divine, and they extend the dominion together to form the divine kingdom in the depth of the soul. There is nothing more beautiful, more dear, greater, and holier than to feel the dominion of my will flow in all of one's acts and in the whole entirety of the creature. I could say that heaven remains behind in the face of the dominion of my will in the heart of the pilgrim creature. In fact, in the saints, it has nothing to add. There is nothing left but to delight them continuously. While in the pilgrim soul there are works that it can do, new life it can infuse, new conquests it can obtain, to expand and extend more its dominion. The total dominion of my divine will in the creature is our continued victory. For each of its acts which it does in her with its dominion, so many victories do we obtain, and the creature becomes the winner of our divine will in her acts. On the other hand, in heaven, we have nothing to win because everything is ours, and each blessed completes his work in the act of breathing his last. Therefore, our conquering work is on earth in the pilgrim souls, not in heaven. In heaven we have neither anything to lose nor anything to acquire. Now, once my divine will has secured its total dominion in the creature, it takes on its speaking mode. You must know that each of its words is a creation. Wherever it reigns, it is unable to remain idle, and since it possesses the creative virtue, it is unable to speak if it does not create. But what does it create? It wants to create itself in the creature. It wants to make display of its divine qualities, and it does so word by word, almost as it did in the creation of the universe, when it spoke, not just one word, but as many words, for as many different things as it wanted to create. The soul costs us more than the whole universe, and when it is sure of its dominion, it does not hold its words back. On the contrary, as she receives the act of its creative word, it expands her capacity and prepares yet another. So it speaks and creates light. It speaks and creates sweetness. It speaks and creates divine strength. It speaks and creates in her its day of peace. It speaks and creates its knowledges. Each of its words is bearer of creation of the good. It possesses and reveals. Its word makes itself the announcer of the good it wants to create in the soul. Who can tell you of the value that one word alone of my divine will possesses, and how many heavens, seas of riches, varieties of beauty it places in the fortunate creature who possesses its sweet and happy dominion? Now after the work arises the joy, the happiness. My will, of its own nature, is pregnant with innumerable joys. It looks at the creature who has offered herself to receive the creation of its words, and oh, how happy it feels, because it sees that each creation that was received gives birth to a joy and happiness without end. And it passes from the speaking mode to the delighting mode, and so that the creature may enjoy more, it does not put itself aside, no, but delights together with her. And in order to make her rejoice more, it keeps explaining to her the nature and diversity of the joys it has created in her soul, only because it loves her and wants to see her happy. And since the joys, the happiness, are not full when they are alone, and they seem to die, it therefore leaves me together with you, to be able to delight you always and prepare the new joys with the work of my creative word. Therefore, our only feast and happiness that we have upon earth is the soul who lets herself be possessed by the dominion of my supreme will. In her, our word, our life, our joys find a place. It can be said that the work of our creative hands is in the order, there where it was established by our infinite wisdom, that is, in our divine will. She is at her place of honor. On the other hand, one who lets herself be dominated by the human will is in the disorder, and is our continuous shame of our creative work. Therefore, be attentive, my daughter, and make happy the one who wants to make you happy in time and eternity.
After this, I continued to swim in the sea of light of the divine fiat. I felt myself being drowned with light, and its knowledges were so many that I did not know which of them to cling to. Because of my littleness, I did not know where to put them. Therefore, they dispersed in the same light, and I remained stunned, unable to say anything. And my sweet teacher, Jesus, added,
My daughter, my will is the gatherer of all its works. In its light it hides everything. With its light it defends them and places all its works in safety. How much does this light not do in order to place the creature in safety, the most beautiful work of our creative hands, and to make her return beautiful, striking, as we issued her? It gathers her onto its lap of light, and it casts much light upon her, to make all evils disappear from her. If she is blind, by dint of light it gives her vision. If she is mute, by dint of light it wants to give her speech. The light takes her from all sides and gives her hearing if she is deaf. If crippled, it straightens her up. If she is ugly, by dint of light it renders her beautiful. A mother does not do as much as my divine will does in order to render its creature beautiful and restored. Its weapons are of light, because there is no power that the light does not hide, and no beauty it does not possess. What would a mother not do if, after she has given birth to a beautiful child that enraptured her with his beauty, and the mother felt happy in the beauty of the child, a misfortune strikes him, and he becomes blind, mute, deaf, crippled? Poor mother, she looks at her child and no longer recognizes him, his eye lifeless, no longer looking at her. His silvery voice that would make her start with joy in hearing herself being called Mama, she no longer hears. His little feet that would run to place themselves upon her lap, they hardly drag themselves. This child is the most piercing sorrow for a poor mother. And what would she not do if she knew that her child could return again to his original features. She would go around the whole world if she could obtain this, and it would be sweet for her to lay down her own life as long as she could see her child beautiful as she gave birth to him. But poor mother, it is not in her power to give back to her dear child the original beauty, and he will always be her sorrow and the most piercing thorn of her maternal heart. Such has the creature rendered herself by doing her will, blind, mute, crippled. Our will cries over her with tears of ardent light of our love. But what the mother cannot do for her crippled child, my divine will does not lack the power to do. More than mother, it will place at her disposal its capitals of light, which possess the virtue of restoring all the goods and the beauty of the creature. As tender mother, loving and vigilant of the work of her hands, which more than dearest child she issued to the light, she will go around, not the whole world, but all centuries, in order to prepare and give the powerful remedies of light that vivifies, transforms, straightens, and embellishes. And only then will she stop, when she sees on her maternal lap, beautiful as she issued it, the work of her creative hands, to make up for the many sorrows and enjoy it forever. Are the many knowledges on my will perhaps not remedies? Each manifestation and word that I speak is a fortress that I place around the weakness of the human will. It is a food that I prepare, it is a bait, a taste, a light, to make them reacquire the lost sight. Therefore, be attentive and do not lose anything of what my will manifests to you, because in due time everything will be needed, nothing will go lost. Do you think it does not take into account even just one word of what it says? It counts everything and loses nothing. And if in your soul it has formed its cathedra in order to deposit its truths, however, the primary cathedra it keeps reserved within itself as the greatest treasure that belongs to it, in such a way that if you lose any word or manifestation that belongs to it, it already keeps the original within itself. Because what regards my divine will is of infinite value, and the infinite cannot disperse, nor is it subject to dispersing. On the contrary, jealous, it preserves its truths in the divine archives. Therefore, you too learn to be jealous and vigilant and to appreciate its holy lessons.
Fiat.